Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session today. We're super excited to learn more about five of our panelists. I'm Heidi Penning. I'm in the Human Rights and Equity Office. I'm one of the advisors there. And I was really honored to have Carrie ask me to moderate these panels. I am a person too that lives with a disability, so I'm really interested in today. I'd like to take a moment to thank our ASL interpreters, Q and Courtney, and our captioner, Lori. And another colleague of mine is on the phone, is on the Zoom call as well, Andrew Ashby. And Andrew, can you just unmute for a sec and quickly introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. As Heidi said, my name is Andrew Ashby. I'm the Accessibility Coordinator with the Human Rights and Equity Office. Just very quick blurb about what I do. I help coordinate accessibility initiatives throughout the university that assist in identifying and removing barriers and help raise awareness of accessibility, disability issues, and to also help the university gauge its compliance with AODA obligations.
Excellent. Thanks, Andrew. We can, in our office, plan to partner with future accessibility cafes. So if that's something that interests you, Carrie's going to put her email in the chat. You can sign up for the WeCan weekly newsletter. Before we start our business, though, I'd like to acknowledge that Queens and WeCan are situated on Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe territories. And I, for one, am grateful to be able to live, learn, work, and play on these lands. Land acknowledgement as a settler like I am is not meant to be a script. There is a Métis scholar by the name of Chelsea Vowell who says that when we think about land acknowledgement, it should make both the speaker and the listener a little bit uncomfortable. So I encourage you to think about the lands that you're situated on today, assuming that not all of us are in Kingston proper, and think about our relationship with both the peoples that were here before us and the land. I'd also like to acknowledge the support of the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario through their I can never pronounce, entrepreneurship. I need to practice that if I'm going to be doing more of these, strategy in their ecosystem fund. So we have a jam-packed hour and a half for you. We hope you can stay to the end, but as we know, it's being recorded. And I'd like to just tell you what we can expect. So we have 5 speakers, and this is the order, Leah, and then we're going to have Elise and Lisa, and then Paula, and then Jen, and then last but not least, Chloe. So again, we're holding the Q&A till the end. And without any further ado, let's go, Leah. I'll be watching the clock as well to make sure that we're staying on time.
Oh, where did it go? Oh dear, there it is. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that okay. So thank you. I'm really grateful for being here today with the women entrepreneurs and overcoming obstacles and reframing disability, and to ensure that accessibility is provided for all. I've appreciated the mentorship from the WeCan program. It's empowered me to be able to realize my goal and to be heard. It's not always easy as a deaf person. I often struggle, and I've seen other deaf individuals struggle as well in employment and services, and to have access to programs like this. WeCan has provided access for through interpreters, captioning. They've provided it all for me, which is quite impressive, and it's a wonderful opportunity. They have ensured that I've had equal access to the same aspects as other women entrepreneurs, where often accessibility issues can be seen as cost prohibitive. So I truly thank you for that. During this process and things I've experienced through my life and with others as well, in my 40 plus years, I have seen very well intentioned institutes trying to speak for us, but instead have in turn hurt us and oppressed us. They've stopped us from thriving. We're not looking for pity. So we want people to benefit from us and to notice that within the system, our voices were canceled. And they've tried and they've put us back to square one, which has caused division within the community. And I had hit my point where I didn't want that anymore. I was hoping for positive change. And then 3 years ago, I realized that the cycle had to be broken. I founded this business with the goal to foster inclusion within businesses. So try to envision this. A cashier is meeting a deaf person and then they just freeze in their tracks if I'm trying to order my lunch or to purchase something from them. And they're trying to figure out what to do next, which is understandable in the situation. And they're trying to figure out the best way to communicate, which is well intended. But from my perspective, it's uncomfortable, it's distancing. I feel judged. I can see the fear in their eyes and I can sense their fear when all I want to do is order a combo number 2 regular sized with no pickles, or potentially missing a doctor's appointment because I'm in the waiting room, but I don't hear my name being called. Another potential where we're going to the movies with a family and we have the captioning device and that gets all set up. And then that captioning device is broken. So my family's enjoying it. I can't. I go to and tell them that it's not working. So they give me a free movie so I can see something the next time. I've collected 5 of those so far. Or last February, when Prime Minister Trudeau was giving announcements about COVID-19, where the hearing audience could get all the information, deaf, hard of hearing audiences couldn't because captioning and interpreters were not provided. Within retail, food services, financial institutions, any organizations have the requirements, but the basic human interaction is missing. With my business partners with others, or I wanted people to have a better quality of life, and by partnering with other businesses, to help alleviate the confusion and the fear and how to accommodate and improve that service, which grows their customer base. I provide visual inclusive communication strategies that provide access for all and that teach compassion for others, as well as more efficient communication. And we do this, by doing this, we allow the business to perform better. And it's not just about deaf or hard of hearing individuals and improving the quality of life. For me, truthfully, part of it is, but it's also to improve the quality for everyone. For you, new Canadians, individuals with autism, seniors, and the list goes on. By removing bias and being inclusive of a diverse variety of communication methods, with potentially learning some ASL as well as a benefit. I do have this, a new feature that's coming soon, where there's deaf certified instructors for ASL, when we're allowed to have one-on-one classes again, but as well as through Zoom, And we partner with small, medium, and large businesses, private and nonprofit as well, to provide training for presentations, workshops, industry specific to their sector and what training would be required. So you would have a brief workshop of 2 hours or so, but then you would have a more full ASL video, whoops, wrong side, which is coming soon, videos of those signs that staff can then practice with. I also create visual artwork through graphic design, posters, wayfinding, signages, advertisements. I recently worked with another deaf entrepreneur and we developed a day planner, which is this one here. It includes some sign language and some tips for awareness. Really, overall, my business's goal is to foster inclusion. And our tagline is that business is for all. And with that, everyone wins, which is the truth. And learning ASL provides many benefits. And if you want to know how that can benefit you in the future, just sign up for one of my workshops. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leah. That was really great. I'm sure there's going to be some questions as we're waiting for the next folks, Elise and Lisa, to set up. They are next. Yeah. I'm very excited. I'm friends with Lisa and Elise, so.
Sorry, I'm just making you co-host. Sorry, Lisa, that's not my fault. There you go, you're co-host now.
There we go.
All right. Yeah, I was just writing. I went, oh my God, I can't share. So, okay. So let me share. Here we go. Here we go. So hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here with my daughter, Elise. We are Bread by Elise, and we're a sourdough micro bakery, and we sell bread baking tools, and we're located in Kingston, Ontario. So, okay, you can go ahead.
The story about the brand. I am Elise, and I am the inspiration behind Bread by Elise.
Good for you. Okay, good. So that's my daughter there. She's cooking up some bread in the background. I have a little video as well. So I'll show you her in action. So what is Bread by Elise? So we're an online store that offers sourdough bread products and baking tools and ingredients. I didn't get rid of my underlining, sorry. So in 2018, Elise became interested in making sourdough bread, and I really encouraged that for her. In 2019, we started to share sourdough loaves with friends and got inspired to open a micro bakery for Elise to be employed. That was one of the hurdles that we kept running into. Elise was only offered volunteer opportunities, and I really felt that for young women, young adults with disabilities, they can actually be employed. They just need that opportunity. So we created that opportunity for ourselves, and we started to think about it in 2019. In 2020, we started to import bread tools and opened an online store after the global shortage due to COVID. So we wanted to make more bread, and we found that there was nothing to help us make that bread anymore. So I went and started importing it myself, and it just became an online store. So now in 2021, we are commercializing our home kitchen. I'm in my kitchen right now, which is, you know, my regular home kitchen, and we're commercializing that in the next couple of months. Everything's been put on hold because of COVID, or delayed at least, and we're going to make all things sourdough. So we'll have bread, pizza dough, cupcakes, banana breads, and we'll also do some soups. Elise really likes to make soups, and they're really delicious. And we're also hoping to start exporting our bread baking tools to the United States and offer wholesale. So I'll just take you on a little trip to our website. I just thought that might be a little bit fun for us. And here we go. It's taking a while to open. Okay, so this is our website that I had made for us. So we sell sourdough starter cultures, bread baking tools, proofing baskets. That's where you put your dough to proof and get bigger. We also have sourdough starter kits for beginners, which contains the active sourdough culture, pizza dough, and organic sourdough bread. So that's sort of what our website looks like. We just started creating Elise's story, and I'll just go through it a little bit. So Elise was born in the city of Montreal and arrived into the world with a neurodiversity that has been holding her back for most of her life. So school was difficult, finding friends was difficult, and searching for a job most recently was impossible. One thing that kept her positive was her love of food and preparing healthy things to eat. With the help of her family, she learned how to make the dough for sourdough bread. She loves it, and she started to make it every day. So if you want to read a little bit more about that, that is on our website. She's really excited to have her own job where she's employed, and eventually she will start to get paid once we really get on our feet. Yeah, so let me go back to the PowerPoint.
Lisa, we didn't see the website. Oh, now I can see. Oh, I just saw it. I see a picture.
Oh, the
of Elise.
website wasn't there?
No, the website link was, but not the pictures, just to let you know.
Anyways, you can go read about Elise's story. I'm trying to, stay within my 10 minutes. So this is
still heard the story. We heard the story, and that's awesome.
Okay, good. So here's a little video of Elise just weighing some ingredients. I thought that might be fun for everybody to see and to show that I'm really not doing this task. It's my daughter who weighs the ingredients and mixes it in the mixer behind her. So she's really precise on the weighing. Yeah, so that's a little bit about Elise. And we really love this quote for us. And in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. We just had to find it. And I think we've really landed on something that's really exciting for Elise, exciting for me as well. I take care of mostly the business side of things, and Elise comes up with a few ideas and she makes the dough. So we're going to do questions at the end, but I just thought I'd end there. I probably went so fast. I'm sorry. So that's it, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
That was great. And I can testify that their bread is yummy. And we've been trading my eggs for their bread for some time. And
yeah.
It's been great, a really nice sense of community forming that you all should be really proud of.
Thank you.
Next is Paula. She doesn't have any slides, so hopefully we're ready to go, and Carrie will make her the co-host, I suppose, and or not. And we are dying to hear from Paula.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'm Paula, barking up the green tree, and who's crashed this Zoom chat is Miss Piper. And as you can see, she has one of our lovely callers on. Gosh, completely lost it, as it happens when you get a 47-pound setter sitting on your lap. Obviously, dogs are my world. And this has been a wonderful opportunity because living with a hidden disability, it becomes difficult with mine. So I love the fact with Weekend, this opportunity that COVID has presented with these different opportunities. And I just realized we can. Yes, we can. As a human race, we can. And it's reminded me of the things that I do know, the people and the team, and it's okay to ask for help. Because since starting this in 2011, I developed it in the base of that marketplace. Gotta love it. I had watched a program about how dog food's made, and that's where the ball got rolling. After some difficult and challenging life events, I decided this is what I need to do, as working for others is difficult. I've had numerous surgeries, and 2 of them were brain surgeries. So remembering what others, it takes me much longer to comprehend, because part of that brain's missing. And once I get it though, man, I've got it and it's there forever. So that's where working with my hands, because it was tapping into information that's been there a long time and gives me solace. And realizing with my medical issues that I needed to have an eco-friendly home. So that's where the developing of dog treats and products that are better for the home, and reusing and repurposing, because why not? As you can see, Piper's collar, you can't tell. I stole her brother's collar, McKay. It is made from car seat straps. To date, we have upcycled over 2,000 car seat straps into durable collars and leashes. These items don't break down, they don't go away. They're designed to keep your children safe, so they're okay and healthy for your dogs. Back when I originally started this, I wanted for well-being and the holistic approach, but I realized I was ahead of the game and I needed to take it step by step. So with COVID, I was able to regroup and take this and use the opportunities with WeCan to pivot back to what I really wanted to be doing. And that was providing resources and providing products that were healthy and safe for your family and your dogs. So one thing I love, because you see that big graphic art right there, that's Morgan. God love her, first Springer I ever had. And she chipped all her canines from tennis balls. So you want to talk about feeling like a bad pet parent, was walking into the vet and then finding out what you've done because. So wool balls, nice and simple. The nice thing is dogs like to mouth and play. Sorry, I'm a lefty, so I should be doing this. They like to mouth and play. And with that, they digest fibers. Wool fibers, it's better for their digestion and they can deal with it. So I want to be that avenue, that conduit that can bring people information and products that are healthier. Just an option. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but here to say, here's a thought. With COVID, I pivoted because what most did not know outside of my close circle is the end of January, I'd had my 13th surgery of a hip replacement. So it was just my way of realizing I've got to take more time to rest and heal, and I couldn't sew dog products. It was just too much. So I started making face masks, and oh man, there was a lot of first goes and the not being able to get supplies. I contacted my suppliers, couldn't get elastics. So I had to make do with hair elastics. Yeah, they were uncomfortable, but I was darned if I do, darned if I don't. So that's when, non-allergenic, but I'm like pivoting once again of, okay, this masks are going to be for a while. I've got to involve our dogs. So matching masks and scarves, because I designed for the bigger dogs because they get left out. Piper, you're making this very difficult. Also in the pivot was, here is dry bags. It's kind of hard to tell, but anyone who's a camper knows that when you're going somewhere, you pop your stuff into a bag and then you go and snap it. Well, how many times have you gone out and gone to travel and you're putting your stuff into a plastic bag? So that's where we're rethinking and presenting products that help leave a better footprint. I'm sorry, I've gotten completely lost. Welcome to the world of the mind of Paula. Always here to learn and grow and provide people with information to make a healthier household. And yeah, I guess that's it because I completely lost it and I apologize. Our website is in the works, so please reach out through Facebook, Instagram, and social feeds. Please be patient. Lovely team, and that's the one thing with the weekend I cannot say enough is it's given me the opportunity to ask for help and know that it's okay. Because one of the things I've always felt is that I didn't want people to think that I was looking for handouts or needy or anything like that. Because being a very strong individual, I just didn't want to give that room for I can't do it. And now I know I can do it, but I don't have to do it. And here's a wonderful team in supporting other small businesses. So thank you for this opportunity. And it's been lovely to meet such a wonderful, diverse group of people.
Great, Paula. Just to let you know that you've got a few more minutes, so you can catch your breath. And just take a moment to, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I guess thank you, Heidi. Is when I first started, I was doing dog treats. And we'll be bringing that back. I did get my certification for raw food. So not saying that everybody needs to feed raw food, but to show that I do have the education so I can formulate the recipes and making sure that's a healthy alternative. And these treats are designed for the celiac household, for the allergy living. It's not the dogs are celiac. The only known breed to become celiac is Irish setters. But providing those avenues of the other, because what's not realized is the cross-contamination and that people can get sick even from handling. So that's been a journey, and that will be coming back into as part of the relaunching of the website and all these great things. We want to give you the tools to have healthier pets and a lot of fun things and tutorials. As you notice, I do love to talk. If I get onto a topic I can chat about. So with the website, we'll be doing video blogs of how to do grazing gardens and all these fun things that is interactive. And right now with our new reality of different learning styles is to get out and be hands-on, just go play in the dirt. Oh, sorry. Piper, do you want to say hello? No. Yeah. Anyways, so
Piper is ignoring us.
oh yeah, Piper's like, I'm just gonna steal the show.
There we go. All right, he's not into Zoom. Maybe he's got Zoom gloom.
No,
Thanks, Paula.
no.
That was really, really great.
You're welcome.
We're going to transition next to Jenny from the farm.
Hi guys, hang on, I'm just going to share my screen. I have a presentation. I think I'm going to do this. This is my first time.
Yeah, it looks good, Jenny.
Sharing my screen.
You're awesome. It worked.
Woohoo! Thanks, guys. Really nice to meet y'all. Don't mind me. I've written everything out just so I stay on track. So I hope you don't mind me reading off my paper here. All right. My name is Jen Preece, and I'm the owner, creator, and art teacher at Studio on the Farm here in Roslyn. A little about me. I'm a lifelong artist. I started making art the moment I could hold a pencil and a brush. I began selling paintings to my school teachers and parents of kids in my class when I was just 12 years old. I then graduated from Sheridan College for interdisciplinary arts in 2000 with a focus on illustration and design. I've had many different jobs over the years, ranging from marketing, public relations, event planning, and advertising. But the one consistent in my life has always been my art. I've always moonlighted as a fine artist and an art teacher. All right. Slide, sorry. So, back in 2004, I was the passenger in my car when my ex and I were hit by a drunk driver on our way home from town one night. The crash changed the course of my entire life. I was immediately knocked out, so I don't remember the actual crash. But I was left with several broken ribs, a cracked sternum. My deltoid was blown in half after I was apparently flung sideways and hit the steering wheel. I was wearing my seatbelt, but had been leaning forward, looking into a bag that was near my feet the moment of the crash, which was like really bad timing. I apparently smacked the dash with my head, and this resulted in a brain injury, which left me with a rare form of narcolepsy, sleep apnea, and I also have a neuropathy that causes me constant pain and flares up at random times, sort of in random places around my body. So the list of injuries is actually much longer, and despite trying very hard to continue on with my normal pace of life, I had to stop my 9-to-5 and focus on what became a 10-year-long recovery, including several surgeries and years of physio and other forms of rehab. Sorry. Oh, there we go. All right, sorry guys. Fast forward to the year 2015. After many years of focused on healing, my ex and I decided we were ready for a big change. We had been living in the burbs in Guelph for years and had always dreamed of getting into farming. It felt like something I could do at my own pace and within our limitations. I had grown up on a farm, so it felt sort of like a return to my roots. We started looking that summer and found the perfect spot. In November 2015, packed our things and moved out to this 36-acre farm in Roslyn. We knew no one out this way, but my parents do have a cottage up in Marmora, so we had some connection to family, which was great. Again, another big life change was about to hit me, and not 8 months into living here, my marriage finally ended for good. He moved 5 hours away and I remained here on this farm. And slowly over the next few years, I began to once again rebuild my life. But this time it was empowering and it was all up to me and it was in my control. The farm grew from chickens to turkeys, ducks, pigs, and sheep. And no doubt there will be more added to the list going forward. I really fell in love with this place. And the more I built my life here, the more I grew in my confidence and abilities. And the more I wanted to share this place with others. Okay. Oh, there we go. And that's how I arrived here. In 2019, Studio on the Farm was born out of this idea that I could combine both my love of ethical farming and my love of art and offer people a unique and special experience. A place to get away to nature, visit friendly farm animals, and a place to get creative and enjoy learning new skills. A place for locals to come drop in, because there aren't many places for rural folks to gather without going like all the way into town. So I wanted to offer a place for people to work on projects together and a place to host fun seasonal family events outdoors around a campfire. So the first thing I did during the summer of 2019 was renovate my walk-in basement, and I turned it into a fully functional art studio. I filled it with shelves, tables, and chairs, and set it up so I could teach small classes of up to 12 people indoors and upwards of 20 people for outdoor classes. The best part for me was that I could manage this within my physical limitations and sleep issues. I could plan my classes around my most energetic times and limit the number of classes offered each week to a manageable number. My first year in business was amazing. I kicked off in the fall of 2019 with a pre-Halloween pumpkin painting party, followed by a pizza and t-shirt stenciling party. They were both really fun. And I taught rustic sign making workshops, DIY beeswax wrap classes, art and crochet classes. As I became more well-known in the community, I was invited to teach a holiday sign making class to 80 grade 2 kids at Sterling Elementary. And also I was able to host a fundraising workshop for the Ontario Brain Injury Association, the Quinte District. It felt great getting involved in the community and bringing my classes into other businesses. I loved meeting new people, and it felt like things were headed in the right direction. Then in January 2020, we started hearing about COVID. And by March, my studio doors had to close to the public and remain closed today. However, the first thing I did after closing my doors was I immediately started up a free sketchbook club online. This was a daily word prompt that participants could use as inspiration for their daily sketch. They posted their images, and I created a mini gallery on our Instagram page so that we could all encourage each other. It was a great way to keep people engaged. I had people all over the world participate until I decided to make another pivot for the studio and put things on hold while I started learning to create tutorial videos. The studio had one really amazing moment this past summer, actually, as I was awarded the Quinte Arts Council Arts Recognition Award for New and Emerging Artist, which I was nominated for by my former students and class participants. I have to say, this is an amazing community to be part of, and to win such an award during such an unprecedented time felt amazing and so surreal. I'm so humbled when I think about it. It was such an unexpected moment during a time when I was struggling, and it helped steer me back to my path, giving my confidence a boost. And so in the fall of 2020, just 1 year after opening my doors, I was taking courses on how to shoot video and learning how to edit. In the next couple weeks, I will finally start shooting my first tutorial video, which will be the online version of my rustic sign making class. The struggles I've encountered have been many over the past year. It's a pretty wild ride having to pivot your brand new business in your first year. I've kept myself going by doing freelance art and through some of the income I make on my farm. Another struggle was figuring out how to reach people online. I found that joining local Facebook groups that allowed self-promotion were extremely helpful. And I also used ads on Facebook and Instagram. I was able to pick my target areas. This was very helpful. But I found the response from the local groups to be a little more consistent and engaged. I would say that doing all of this by myself has also been a struggle, because not only am I planning, prepping, and teaching the classes, I'm also doing all of my own marketing and advertising, which is a daily job in itself, and the farm. I manage my time with a revolving to-do list that I review daily, and I find this helps a lot. Going forward, I will be starting a YouTube channel and a TikTok channel for the studio. On these platforms, I will be offering my online courses for a fee, as well as lots of free content like studio vlogs, mini tutorials, Q&A sessions, and funny bloopers about my weird life here on the farm. There will be a studio component and an on the farm component. I've been learning a lot, and I'm now in a place to start making this happen. This is how the studio will function until the pandemic is under control. Post-pandemic, or when it's safe to do so, the studio will resume in-class teaching, drop-in days, and we'll begin to offer outdoor classes and experiences. I can't wait for that day to come when I can have people here again. But until then, I'm hoping to create as much of the warmth and fun and a sense of community in my online content. Please stay tuned in February and March for content to be available. Many kind thanks for your time. I'm always happy to answer any questions and connect with you anytime. Please stay in touch, and I hope to see you online and eventually in person. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. That was really great. And coming from a farming background myself, I'm always trying to advocate for all those fuzzy animals that you have there. So far, I only have chickens. It's a struggle. So our last but not least is someone I know very well too, Chloe. And Chloe, if you're ready, let's go.
Hello everyone, my name is Chloe and I am very honored to be engaging with you today. Among all of these empowering individuals, as I started to prepare for this talk, two takeaways came to my mind. This event is called Accessibility Cafe for Women Entrepreneurs. So naturally, I'm inclined to share some info and resources with you about my own business, Close Gathering Consulting. I know, however, that I cannot be my authentic self without unpacking my struggles as a disabled entrepreneur. And this is how I would like to spend our time together today. Close Gathering Consulting first came into fruition to work alongside various types of businesses and the travel industry to offer tailored resources so that in turn they can further foster accessible and inclusive spaces within their own environment. As I dive deeper into the work, I want to ask you through the realm of my businesses. One thing becomes very apparent. There still remain a lot of barriers and stigma in respect to disabled entrepreneurs. Please do not get me wrong. I recognize that surviving in the entrepreneurship world can be quite challenging without incorporating disability into the mix. But disability does certainly add another layer to it. One that, in my biased opinion, is not discussed enough thought since revamping my website, I made the decision to include a blog on learning my dogs in respect to various topics relating to accessibility and disability. My very first series naturally pertains to my journey with entrepreneurship. A few days ago, I received a private message from an acquaintance. Now, I acknowledge this individual probably wanted to offer helpful insight and did not think anything from it, but it really impacted me. And within a matter of minutes, I questioned my entire plan that I started thinking this over a year ago. In brief, the individual noted that I should not be upfront about my struggles in entrepreneurship because it could deter potential clients from working with me. What I recognize the prominence of what was said. I tend to believe that things are slightly different for individuals who identify as disabled entrepreneurs, and thus ultimately we should not feel obligated to suppress our own struggles to find clients. I know that I do not want to lead my professional life that way because it is not who I am, nor who I aspire to become. And so I embrace my struggles and vocalize them. The foundation of my plan is transparency, and through it I share lived experience so that my clients further understand accessibility and disability through my lens. My challenges and struggles are real, and they have essentially shaped me into the disabled entrepreneur that I am today. And the last thing I want to do is silence that impact. I have also come to realize that by highlighting these experiences publicly, my blog post could potentially become resources for other entrepreneurs, disabled or not, which is a direction I did not anticipate taking when I first launched my consulting business. On that note, I would like to leave you all with one of my favorite quotes. Disability is not actually about those of us who are disabled. It is about those with the power to call us disabled. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chloe. I would encourage everyone now to go back into gallery view. Thank you to all the presenters who really stayed on time. This is great. I was losing a little sleep last night, to tell you the truth. Before we open it up to the Q&A, either verbally or on the chat, I kind of want to, some takeaways for me as I was listening to all 5 of you present. I'm getting a little emotional, to tell you the truth about this, so I'm going to try to be professional here. People that know me, being professional is not one of my strengths. Common thread, I agree with everything on the comments. Man, boy, oh boy, are you ever 5 strong women and women with disabilities. And, you know, some things I was thinking about, it's not just about surviving. It's really about thriving as well. You know, that's what accessibility is all about, right? Is the equality of opportunity to participation. And it really, you know, having, you know, I've been in this business for over 25 years, and I'm always amazed how far we still have to go. I heard a lot of people say pivot, and you're all to be commended to take actually your gifts and your strengths, you know, and to turn them into opportunities and business opportunities at that in really trying times during this COVID. And what you didn't say about yourself, but because I think you don't give yourselves enough credit, but tremendous strength, tremendous courage, this sense of agency and independence, the never give up attitude. You know, I'm saying this, and I wish, you know, I'm getting goosebumps on my arms. And so you're all a bunch of amazing disruptors. And that's what we really need. And especially in the disability communities or community, I'm an equity advisor, and we talk a lot about equity, diversity, and inclusion. And Andrew and I often commiserate, and I see Yvonne Holland on the call too. We commiserate about how society thinks we've got accessibility, right? In the checkbox on the AODA, and they're done, right? And then accessibility is never done. And we need to keep this in the forefront of people's minds, organizations, business owners, employers, the government, you name it, everyone, so that everyone can really thrive, I guess is the word. And the last thing I want to say before we go into the Q&A is the intersectionality of these social identities of these strong women. They are women, and they are women with lived experience with disability. Okay. And as a disabled woman myself, I've added a couple new disabilities this summer to the list. Disability is not my master status. And I can't speak for the other women on the call today, but that is something I say a lot. Just don't look at my disability. I'm a human being that's pretty complicated sometimes. And my last comment is, you know, this is going to be the rebel in me. Oxytocin is going to save the world, women. Like, together, we're stronger. And I really think that, you know, with the We Can, that we're really forming a community of practice for women that have been at the margins far too long. So on that note, let's open it up either verbally or in the chat. I asked you to be on gallery view, but please don't feel obligated to turn on your video. It's totally up to you. And now I'm going to turn the floor over and just make sure, let's see if we've got some questions, or feel free to ask any of them questions.
Heidi. Heidi, is it okay if I say something?
Sure thing.
Yeah, what I realized, I was sitting, you've probably seen it on my Facebook, is that here we had the opportunity to talk about, and I didn't even really say, because I've trained myself so much, and it comes to point to what you were just talking about, that to pretend and act normal as best as you possibly can, because as soon as someone you say disabled, you're automatically, I know from my case, I found disabled means stupid. Now, granted, because of the brain surgeries, in layman's terms or general conversation, I can't get the words out. When I kick into proper business modes, people are always shocked because it's two different worlds. But yeah, it's funny. But once again, I felt here was an opportunity to discuss in a safe environment, and still, because we're conditioned, and it's learning that and taking that opportunity to realize it is okay. And I think it's going to be a long haul, the realistic, but with opportunities like this, and hopefully others seeing that it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's the opening, and being welcoming without judgment is hopefully a great first step.
The disability population is the most underrepresented population in the workforce.
Yeah.
In Ontario, in Canada, I look at the stats, and it's not for lack of skills or capabilities.
Yeah.
And so, you know, often marginalized groups do turn to making a business on their own, right? Yeah. Other comments from folks or questions? Don't be shy.
Heidi, Yvonne here. I just found this deeply moving. Have to get my breath. How do we have this? These are very powerful stories. They're more than words. How do we impart this to our students? Maybe during orientation, I don't know, but this has been amazing. And it resonates because you hear the success and the strength and the pain. And I think that's really important for our students to hear.
For sure, for everyone to hear, Yvonne. To Holly Marie's point about that, finally, her current employer is the first, in capital letters, one where she feels comfortable being her, she says hearing impaired, but really about being your authentic self, right? Not just and she says she's 37. I'm still young in my books. But being her authentic self at work, or in her you know, leisure activities, I'd say too. Imagine how much energy it takes not to be your authentic self. I'm seeing so many positive comments in the feed here in the chat, and I hope all the presenters have an opportunity to read them later. But really, we've got a good half hour or so here. Other comments or questions while you've got these amazing women here waiting to answer your questions. And the panelists too, don't feel like you're just sitting there waiting for someone to ask a question, like pipe in too. and speak.
I had a thought to Yvonne, your point. I put it in the chat, and I apologize because I'm dyslexic. Add everything onto it. I'm dyslexic as well. And ADHD, it's a great recipe. If you want someone creative, man, I'm on it. But I think because I do, well, not this year. I work at Queen's in Ontario Hall as well, and it's a great experience. But I think it comes back to this whole idea is we are teaching, and we have been taught, the things that are broken are not useful. Throw it away, throw it away, throw it away. So I think if we can change the mindset that broken doesn't mean worthless. Maybe that is. So, an object. So if it's a glass and the handle's chipped or broken, we can repair it. So maybe changing that footstep, because now it's this throwaway system. I don't know. It's just sort of one of those things, because I know I've applied for many jobs, and if people, they look at my resume and like, oh my gosh, I'm an HR practitioner. I have marketing and graphic design and this pile list. But as soon as they ask, or they see me with a limp or these different things, or I have a moment, then automatically I'm broken, and I'm not. Like I've applied, I've come back from job interviews crying, knowing I got that. This is my wheelhouse. I have pulled strings. Nope, I don't get it. And then when I see that person didn't work out, because understanding why, and don't wish that person ill will, it's because I'm broken. And I think it's really changing that factor of getting rid of the disposable idea. And maybe that's a way to approach with the students, because my role at Ontario Hall is I'm a fine art model. So I go in there and I drop it all, because I want people to see that this is my journey, my body, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. So breaking that barrier. So that's how I'm approaching changing a mindset. Not everybody's approach, but so maybe that's some food for thought.
Well, good on you, Paula. Oh my gosh, I just lost.
Leah has her hand up also.
As you were talking, I was thinking about, employers and unconscious bias. Why job opportunity after job opportunity after, and never getting the job. And it's something that we need to work on. All of us has unconscious bias. But when it really has negative impacts, like you so rightly pointed out, I think we're obligated to really understand that we carry unconscious bias, and what can we do to mitigate that. And in the workplace, it's just not saying a tick box. We have people with disabilities, we have people that are racialized, women or Indigenous peoples, but it's about what you all bring to the organization. You're all business women, but what, some of us work for organizations. What do we bring? And that's our lived experience, right? And so how do we, there's a really neat video out of the UK called Disability Talk. And we talk about disability, but we never seem to act. And it always falls on us, people with disabilities, to kind of point out the barriers. And what I heard, with all of you is you're tired too, right? So this needs to be, a 360 community effort. Right? So I don't want to do all the talking. So other people.
Heidi, Leah has a comment or a question.
Okay, let me look at the chat.
Heidi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, Leah has a question.
Just to backtrack a little bit about the comments and perspectives of disability, I, as a deaf person, when people say hearing impaired or disabled or hearing loss, I have a loss, yes, but there is definitely a gain as well. Just like sign language has many benefits. For example, if you're in a noisy environment or if you're across the room, You can sign to another person. Even if you were in a factory, you could communicate safety issues just with gestures when you're far away from each other. And it can become a universal language or standard for all. And I mean, if you're eating and your mouth is full, you can still have a conversation while you're enjoying your meal. But as well, it's those fun things, but it's the safety components as well that show where there are gains. There is a loss for sure, but there are most definitely several gains to be had as well. It's not that I can't do or we can't do these things. It's people deciding for us if we can. I mean, we can overcome them by doing different ways. We have different communication strategies. We have a true language that has its own grammar and syntax. It's different than English, but it's there. So it's that reframing of a disability and not looking at the loss of it, but what you're gaining from that.
Good, many good points, Leah. Sarah has a question for the panelists. What is your favorite part and your least favorite part of being your own boss? And then I see Anne will like to speak after. So any or all of you can pipe it. Oh, so Jenny wants to.
Yeah, I just put my hand up. I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, I was actually wanting to answer that question. So my favorite part of being my own boss is that I'm in control of the times of the day that I'm most energetic. I can plan my classes and people here at the farm when it works. And I'm also, it just gives me that level of being able to manage the issues that I have, because narcolepsy is a beast to live with when you have to expend so much energy working on a farm and making art. All of those things are constant struggles for me. But so it's nice. That's what I really love about it. And I don't know that I could actually keep up with a 9 to 5 the way that my issues are. So it gives me a chance to have an income and a business here and thrive doing things within my abilities. The hardest part is obviously the unpredictability of it all. Some classes are full, some classes aren't so full. With COVID, obviously everything is different too. But yeah, I have to say I do love it. I don't think I'd do it any other way. I hope that helps.
No, thanks. How about the other panelists? Elise? Oh, Leah wants to. Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
Just to add on to that, another positive for working myself is I have the interpreter speaking for me. So I can use my voice. I don't have the confidence to. And my family's always telling me that I'm too loud and I can't necessarily hear my voice going up or down, and depending on my emotions as well. So I have the interpreter to voice for me, but at the same time, it depends on the availability, when there's an interpreter available to come to do a workshop. So, and it's finding the two sides that come together. So there's pros and cons for both as a self-employed business owner.
Good point. How about Lisa or Chloe or Elise? Would any of you like to?
I just asked Elise if she wanted to answer that question. She said, I don't know. So for me, I'm just so excited for her. She, I've known for a long time that she loved food and she loved cooking and baking. And so in 2018, when we learned, about sourdough and how healthy it was for you compared to, grocery store bread, the fact that she wanted to make that every day was just so exciting. It got her off of YouTube. So it gave her something, it gave her a purpose. And which I think a lot of these young adults are just sitting at home, on YouTube or their phones. And yeah, we just had such bad luck with, a cafe, could she stock the fridge and things like that? And there was just, yeah, but she has to run cash and she has to talk to the customers and she has to, like, there was just so much in the job description that it was just let her food prep. Like, she would be awesome. And so now that's what she's doing at home. And yeah, we're going to build an empire. So, so that's it. It's for me. I love seeing that Elise is successful.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thanks.
Chloe, not to put you on the spot, but I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity. So it looks like you're smiling and nodding. So
Yes, so I think there are two main reasons. So as many other women mentioned, I'm in control of my time, and it takes no time for me to complete every task, and I don't pick up any shifts because the time is mine. The second reason is I'm involved in a lot of other initiatives and community engagement opportunities, and the fact that I work for myself provides me the opportunity to do other things on the side that I wouldn't be able to if I worked for somebody else.
right. No, that's a really good point. And I love the question, like, because at the root of all this is you're all businesswomen, right? Thanks. Now, Anne, I see that your hand is up. Would you like to ask a question?
Thanks, Heidi, and thank you, everyone. A comment first. I know it sounds flaky to say that I'm inspired, but honestly, I'm inspired every day. Some of you probably know I work as the adaptive technologist in Stafford Library, so I meet with students on a regular basis to provide services and supports. You are encouraging, you are thoughtful, you are organized, you are incredibly bright. And I guess my question for each of you would be, how can I do my job better, right? I see across the university, as we all do, to Yvonne's comment and Heidi's thoughts as well, that we as not only as providing education, but also as employers, and I recognize we have the AODA and students have a mechanism to achieve accommodations and services and supports within their education, and the AODA is there to support and our duty to accommodate as far as the workplace is concerned too. But for all of you, how can I do my job better? What are the pieces that I'm missing to provide those services and supports to you that you need today in order to make that transition from taking your education, your lived experience, whatever services or supports you need to build into your workplace, your success, your finding your goal, finding the place that you want to take all of that and move it forward. Any advice to me on what I could be doing better to support you?
Paula has her hand up. So Paula?
I think the first word that come to mind was assuming. Because I feel that Leah, I see Leah nodding her head, because when she brought up the point about trying just to order a basic meal, the assumption. For myself, when I'll go into something, sometimes you noticed in my video, I lose my words. Just give me a moment. Don't assume that, don't make any assumptions. Just wait and look, and we will, and people that are having limitations, we will give you the cue. And sometimes there's no cue to give, just just stand there and be polite and whatever, have a giggle and go from that person's cue. Don't make assumptions. Case in point, I had hip surgery replacement for myself. 2 weeks later, I was back modeling. I don't recommend it to others. I was able to get up on the podium, but I didn't tell anybody that I was having surgery because I knew that their assumption is I wouldn't be able to. So just ask, put the offer out. And if somebody that you know that has a challenge, even though you know that, do not dismiss by your preconceived notions of what their limitations may be, because it might be your limitations that you're placing on that person. Because we get into this mindset, oh, we can't do this, we can do that. How can that person ask? And if they're applying or if they're asking dollars to donuts, they have thought about this left, right, and center of what they need. So say nothing. If they're showing up, if they're throwing their hat in, if they have any questions or concerns, they will bring it up to you. But really, sometimes there's nothing that you need to do at a certain sort of don't assume and don't have preconceived notions.
Excellent, excellent.
I think for me, with I'm speaking on behalf of my daughter, but it's my feeling, like if I say to her, go into Tim Hortons and grab yourself a hot chocolate, is the person on the other side of the counter going to just jump back when she doesn't remember the word that she's going to say? That just puts so much fear in me that somebody's just going to say, I don't understand what you're talking about. To have somebody on the other side that is identified, like I can say to Elise, go to the desk that has this sign on it, and somebody is going to be there who is, able to help you in the store. If Elise had problem with if she signed or anything like that, to have an interpreter there. Don't make the people who have a disability struggle to find help. I think that's what I say. Like I don't allow Elise to go in very many places alone, because people are mean and they can say really mean things. Sorry.
It's okay.
I just really struggle with that piece, that she's 24 years old. And I just don't want someone to crush her and have her not want to go back in. So for me, that's the main piece. Just have somebody on staff that has the compassion and the ability to help people, and not, I'm busy, I don't have time or whatever. Like sometimes Elise struggles with remembering exactly, that red thing, and we did this with it, and just that's what I think businesses can do.
Yeah, compassion.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry about that.
And a lot of nodding. Jenny? Chloe? Leah? Oh, Leah has her hand up, sorry.
Just to add for that, and you're right. I've provided training in Milton at the Tim Hortons. They have several deaf customers and there was lots of miscommunication happening. So I provided training on how to have that patience, have visual menus or signs, just the basic signs for people. And that has even increased their business. So it's like having signs is the benefits, but having those visual menus or something where people can point to, or where there's numbers that are easily identifiable, makes it easier for us to communicate, because we can look at the picture and show you the number. And instead of having those flipping menus, just have that, you're right, have those simple things. And people don't have the patience. They don't have empathy or compassion. And it's like, you've got to try and get people to look at it through another lens. And would you want to experience it yourself that way? So it's trying to find those opportunities.
Right on. I see that there's going to be a question for Aaron, but we're talking about Tim Hortons. And I see in the notes that there's been some pretty active traffic around how to get this recording into the hands of people that, not just students at Queen's, but into the hands. And And there was a comment about our mayor. And so this is going to be a bit of some statistics for you. Mark Wafer is now retired, but he was the business owner of, I think, 7 Tim Hortons in the Greater Toronto area. That is a person with a hearing impairment, has since the 90s employed hundreds of persons with disabilities through the whole, not just wiping tables, but I shouldn't say just, because that's important, through the whole gamut of his organization. And when compared to other Tim Hortons, his retention is higher, his workplace injury is lower, retention is higher. And he said, look, I'm a businessman through and through. I want to make money. So to Paula's point, this isn't charity. This isn't, feeling sorry. This is actually a business imperative, right? So Aaron, I see that your hand is up.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so first of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your stories. I know that I was incredibly moved by all the different people that have talked here today. My twin sister actually has a disability. She got it when she was 16. And like all of you, she is just incredibly resilient. And I feel so lucky to have heard all of your stories today. I think universal design is so essential and undervalued in our world today. And I've co-founded a business to make bras accessible to people with different mobility restrictions. And this cafe was very educational in a variety of ways, but mostly making sure that we're accessible to as many different people with as many different disabilities as possible. So if there's any tips that any of you have for keeping our business as accessible as possible, we would really appreciate your feedback and tips. And thank you so much to each of you for sharing your stories.
I think that's a great question, Aaron. And I see that we have about 8 minutes left. So that might be kind of a nice way to wind down this I'm going to say beautiful session that we've had. And so I encourage all the presenters to answer Aaron's question and some final thoughts. This is, a democracy here, so I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Oh, I see Paula's hand up.
Because my brain completely had its moment of flight. What was the question?
So Erin is also in the business of making things more accessible. I think she said bras. Was it bras?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So just sort of tips around how to make her business and other businesses, more accessible.
Let me think about that one.
Well, we'll come back to you, Paula. And I don't want to put you. How about Leah or Lisa, Jenny, Chloe?
I put something in the chat. I'm an experiential teacher. So it just came to me. It's like when you have an employee, brand new employee, let them know what it's like to not see and come up to the counter and order something. Let them experience that. This blind person, there's this perception that if you're blind or you're deaf or you have an intellectual, you're not able to speak as well as everybody else, that you're not intelligent. But your employee is. So let them experience what it's like to be blind, to be deaf, to not be able to speak clearly when they're ordering something. And that's where I think you can get a little bit of the empathy from your employees to be a little bit more compassionate in the experience and in the everyday life of someone who has a disability. That's just me. Thanks.
How about the other presenters? Any final thoughts or advice? Yeah, Jenny.
So yeah, I love that, Lisa. I think that giving people the experience of what it's like so that it does increase the empathy and encouraging patience as well. For me, having a brain injury, I don't always remember things. I lose my thoughts. I'm not always, yeah, it can take me a little bit longer to order something or to, get what I want to say out. So just patience, experience, empathy, all of that is so important, because I think as folks with disabilities, we also need to be humanized through experience, through able people experiencing or what we go through. I think that really can be a useful tool, at least in developing that empathy for everyone.
Yeah,
Just-
perfect. Yeah, and Carrie made a good point too in the chat. We've been conditioned with fast service, right? And so, Paula, have you? Oh, you're on mute, Paula. Yeah, we all do it.
I agree with what everyone's saying. It reminds me back in my previous life, before brain surgeries, before hip surgeries, before all that fun stuff, is when I was training employees, is I would put them through those exercises and of the non-judgmental. And so I think those are all great points. And even I think the thing is when people are coming up with training programs and manuals and accessibility plans, how many people that are writing them are actually know someone or is going through those issues? These are assumptions. So reaching out to someone, bringing someone in to have a conversation. So, and having a variety to show the different levels of disabilities. Now, granted, not every person with a disability will want to do that. That's okay, because it's their right. Just like for myself, I'll be a voice because I don't know how to shut up. But because I've been on the corporate world, I've been there, and I know, going from one brain surgery went from being highly intelligent to stupid because the information's there. But I get it. But I can, when I'm focused, be that bridge. And I think explaining and showing the differences and the feeling, even maybe putting them through some staff through the finding out what they're scared of. So, if it's something, and then pointing it out and having them put through the paces as something that they're insecure about or have their issue, can give them that sense of feeling. Because if you don't put them through it, if they've never walked a mile in someone else's shoes, so let's say like myself, I have an overbite, I don't care it anymore because at the least of it. But if someone has something like that, or something that they can make it personal, like what's your fear, and then kind of put them through the paces. Because like, oh, it's not fair. Well, for every one of these lovely people and as panelists that have spoken up, no, it's not fair, and it sucks. So maybe, you know what, give them a dose of their own medicine in a polite manner so that they can learn.
Good. Very good. Yeah, and there's a comment too that involving the community, so not necessarily being prescriptive, but rather integrative, and that's, I think, what everyone's been talking about today. Chloe, Leah, any kind of final thoughts that you'd like to share? Yes, no, maybe so.
To be honest, the point that I wanted to make already got discussed, so I don't want to be redundant. But maybe one last point is always be mindful of intersectionality, because I think it's not addressed enough. Yes, maybe like the disability needs are met, but disabled persons have so many more identities than just the disability. So it's important to be mindful of other intersectional points.
Leah, yes, no?
I think I'm good. I share similar comments to everybody else.
All right. Look at that, 11:30 on the nose, Carrie, on the nose. We're
On the nose. We're going to have you back, Heidi.
I run a tight ship.
Absolutely amazing.
It's been amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, presenters, women. Thank you to Carrie and the gang at WeCan. Thanks to our ASL interpreters and our captioner. Thanks to the government. Thank you, everyone. And I was thinking, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, that if we're comfortable taking our mutes off or how about clapping, right? Either clap or this is a sign for clapping, right? And so, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been amazing. Look at everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
We're a community, right? This is going to go down in the history books, and I'd be happy to, Andrew and I volunteer tell Andrew a lot of stuff. You have to realize this, Andrew? But we'd be happy to work with Carrie and WeCan and others that are interested around how do we make this, with permission, of course, make this session, how do we blast it out onto platforms and social media? And I'm even thinking town halls, you name it, So Carrie, any last words from your perspective before we?
None at all. Just thank you so much. It has been a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.